cryptocurrency right now is in a bull run.
It's moving now at the speed of internet. They think that's what's scaring people. I'm a very basic person.
I have stayed away from the crypto vertical for several years.
Whenever there's money, especially fast money, the criminals will show up. How do we protect from the IT guys?
The massive bulk of the profits are on the Solana blockchain.
What happens with a lot of centralized exchanges, by design, they aggregate the pools of money. So when you look from the outside, like the blockchain perspective, you actually don't know what's happening on the inside. People now believe it's anti-fragile. Overthinking things and staying in the middle is what kills you in crypto. Only play with the money that you are willing to lose.
It's not the blockchain that's going to get you. It's those social engineers that are out there that are going to get you. I'm Brett Johnson, former United States most wanted cyber criminal, now good guy. In today's world, criminals come in all shapes and sizes, but they all have one thing in common. They all have criminal thoughts. On today's episode, I am beyond ecstatic to bring in Bartosz Lipinski. He is CEO of Cube.Exchange. So, why is Bartosz coming in here? And I hope I'm saying his name right. I asked him before I started recording how to pronounce it. He said, just call me B. So we're bringing B in because cryptocurrency right now is in a bull run. Not only is it in a bull run, but it is in a huge bull run. We're getting ready to have the Bitcoin halving coming in. And Bartosz, or B, is a proponent of one of the largest movers in crypto right now, the Solana blockchain. So I want to talk about that. It's, you look at Bitcoin, you look at Ethereum. Right now, Solana is outperforming Ethereum, and it looks to maybe even eclipse it by the end of this bull run. We will see, but I'm very excited to talk to him, find out some stuff about security on that blockchain, because as we know, there's a lot of rug pulls that are going on, a lot of scams, a lot of people like Sam Bankman-Fried, who was recently sentenced to over 25 years in prison. We're going to touch upon that as well. Before we do all that, let's check in with Brian, see what we've got from the headlines.
Brett, we all know that pets bring an immediate sense of comfort, but they can especially be helpful for people suffering from conditions like epilepsy, depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic stress disorder. A father recently posted in the AITA, Am I the Asshole, category on Reddit asking if he was indeed an asshole for euthanizing his daughter's emotional support dog because he could not afford the $2,000 vet's bill required for the dog's surgery.
Yeah, I read this story, and I wanted to comment on this. The dog needed a surgery. The surgery was $2,000. The dog was only 4 years old. The girl had a lot of different difficulties. She needed a service animal. Absolutely did. Now me, I've got a small Chihuahua mix. I say small, it's 26 pounds. They say it has, the vet keeps telling me that it's fat. I keep saying no, it's just big boned. Maybe Daisy has a thyroid problem. I don't know, but I refer to that animal as my PTSD puppy because I suffer from depression. I have, let's be fair, I have issues, and that little dog of mine helps me with my issues. I love that little animal more than most human beings. And for this guy, the girl, his daughter, he calls and tells her that it's a $2,000 operation. She says, hey, I've got $700 in the bank. I'll get a job to help pay for it and everything else. And the dad refuses and has the dog put down. So then he has the gall, the audacity to go to Reddit and ask in a subreddit entitled, Am I the Asshole? He asked, am I the asshole for killing my daughter's dog? Well, the answer is, yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are. You absolutely are. That's all I can say for that. That is a despicable act. And I don't even know what to say other than that. But yeah, man, you're absolutely the asshole. You truly are. Brian?
Comedian Jon Stewart ranted this week that Donald Trump's civil real estate case overvaluing his properties was not victimless. Yet when it came to his own home, Stewart benefited from a similar inflation. It didn't take long for internet sleuths to look into Stewart's own property history, which shows his New York City penthouse sold for 829% more than its assessed value, records confirmed by the New York Post reveal. The difference between Stewart and Trump's cases is that a judge ruled that Trump sometimes exaggerated to lenders about how big his properties were, including the square footage of his Trump Tower apartment.
There's a lesson to be learned here, and the lesson is people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. They shouldn't. Jon Stewart, first let me say, I am tickled to death that Jon Stewart is back on The Daily Show. Finally, The Daily Show is funny once again. Trevor, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't like you from day one. I don't think I laughed at one show that you ever did for The Daily Show. Jon Stewart, thank God you're back. Now, Jon, let's be honest. You called out Trump for the exact same thing that you were doing. And you had the audacity once again to say that, it's not a victimless crime what Trump was doing. Well, guess what? It's not a victimless crime what you were doing either. I've bought houses. I've bought automobiles, everything else, both legally and illegally. And I will tell you that every single time that I've went to buy one, that usually the salesman or the finance manager, whether it be a car or, a mortgage broker at buying a home or what have you, they are very good about trying to increase the value of things, either the wage that you're making or get you a better rate at the end of the day. And, I'm not a big Trump, I can't even say I'm a Donald Trump fan. But let's be honest now, guys. I mean, it's, he broke the law. He absolutely did. He broke the law. I think the interesting thing is we're going to see how this plays out through the rest of this year, whether Donald Trump is able to frame himself as this victim of government targeting, or whether the Democrats are able to frame Donald Trump as an enemy of democracy. And I honestly don't know which one is going to win out. I guess we're going to find out in November. Brian?
Crypto entrepreneur Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced Thursday to 25 years in prison for a massive fraud on hundreds of thousands of customers that unraveled with the collapse of FTX, once one of the world's most popular platforms for exchanging digital currency. This sentence was half of what prosecutors sought and less than a quarter of the 105 years recommended by the court's probation officers.
So he got 25 years. He was wanting, his lawyers had asked for 6.5 years. That, of course, was never going to happen. The prosecutors had asked for, 105 years. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. So the concept of justice, when you're handing out or doling out a prison sentence, what happens is for federal prosecutors, probation office, they sit down, they do what's called a PSR, a pre-sentence report or pre-sentence investigation. That's an in-depth background check that tells the judge or recommends to the judge how much time the judge should sentence that defendant to. And typically, the judge adheres to that recommendation. In this part, the judge did not. He decided to go down to 25 years. Now, what determines a sentence? Well, there are a couple of things that determine what a sentence should be. Punishment, getting the guy off of the street so he can no longer commit those crimes, and sending a message to anyone else who may think about doing the same thing in the future. When you're looking at a sentence, one of the things that I look at is who all is upset about the sentence. First of all, the defendant, in this case, Sam Bankman-Fried, he should be upset, and he is. The defense lawyers, they're upset. The victims, they're upset. And the prosecutor, they're upset. So everyone across the board was upset about the amount of time that Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to. And that tells me that more than likely, it is a just sentence. It gets the guy off the street. He's 32 years old. He won't be out. The earliest he'll be out is probably 54 years of age, because in federal prison, you serve 87.7% of the time that you're sentenced to. So he's looking at 54 years of age when he gets out of prison. I know there's a first step program, but that first step program that you're seeing in the news articles where it says he may get out in 12 years, that's a dog and pony show. He's not going to get out in 12 years. He's going to get out in 22 years. All right. So 87% is what he's going to serve. It gets him off the street so he can no longer victimize other people. It sends a message to anybody else that may be screwing around that, hey, you're going to get some time from this. And I think that 25 years is an appropriate amount of time as punishment for the crimes that he committed. That's an extraordinary amount of time. And I'm going to touch upon that in the upcoming segment, which we're going to move into right now, of Criminal Insight. On today's Criminal Insights, I wanted to talk about that 25-year prison sentence that Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to yesterday. And there's been some chatter on Twitter, some of the social media feeds, that, hey, that's just not enough time. Think about 25 years for a second. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, he is 32 years of age. He will be 54 years old when he gets out. The world will absolutely be a completely different place when he gets out of prison. I was sentenced to 7.5 years of prison. When I went into prison, Facebook did not exist. Smartphones did not exist. The social media platforms that are out there, the only one that was out there when I went to prison was MySpace. That was it. So things changed dramatically just in 7.5. So think about 25 years. The world is going to be completely different than what he knows of today. That cryptocurrency that he was involved in, that he victimized people with by pulling that FTX scam, probably not going to be possible anymore. The regulations will be out there. The industry will have evolved, and it would have matured to the point that you hopefully won't have the ability of someone like Sam Bankman-Fried to come in and bilk people out of billions of dollars. It goes a little bit further than the world changing, though. Sam Bankman-Fried's parents will die while he is in prison. Think about that. His parents, both of them, his mom and dad, they will not live to see him get out of prison. They absolutely will not. So he's going to lose every single thing that he's got. The friends that he thought that he had quote unquote friends because he was throwing around a lot of money. Those friends are not going to be there anymore for him. They're not. So he's going to get out in 22 years, and the world's going to be a completely different place. He's not going to have any friends, no associates. His parents are going to be dead. I mean, it's for someone to say that that's not enough time is, I think that's an uninformed comment. I truly do. One thing that I will say, and it was told to me when I went to prison, he made the comment, Sam Bankman-Fried made the comment in court yesterday that, quote, his useful life was now over. That is the farthest thing from the truth. You can absolutely find value wherever you are, and you can be a good human being wherever you are. There are men inside, there are men behind the fence, behind the wall, that absolutely can benefit from Sam Bankman-Fried and his knowledge if he chooses to do the right damn thing. The thing about prison, you can make it a positive experience or you can make it a negative experience. Whatever Sam Bankman-Fried has going on that he would like to change, make better in himself, he can do that in prison and he can help other people. The question is, will he? Because let's be honest, he showed no ounce of remorse whatsoever during his sentencing. From his comments at his sentencing, it seems that he still has this cognitive dissonance going on where he still doesn't understand that he did the wrong thing, that he absolutely bilked billions of dollars from other people. So the first step for Sam Bankman-Fried is to become accountable, to show some responsibility, to understand the degree of what he did and how much harm he brought, not only to the individuals that he ripped off, but to the entire cryptocurrency industry. That's the first step. Will he do that? I don't know. I sincerely hope that he will. We are going to bring in Bartosz Lipinski. He is CEO of the Cube.Exchange. He is also a huge Solana proponent. And I wanted to talk about Solana. I want to ask Bartosz, I want to ask him first what he thinks about the sentence with Sam Bankman-Fried. But Solana is where the action is if you're in cryptocurrency. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some security stuff, everything else. Without further ado, it is my extreme pleasure to bring on B. Lipinski out of Chicago, Illinois. How are you?
Hey, yeah, pretty good. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. So, what do you think about SBF getting 25 years?
So I think I agree with what you said, and they tweeted actually something similar yesterday. Nobody will be happy, and I think that means it's just.
I think so. I do.
Like other than that, like it's I don't know. Like that's it. I lost money on FTX, but at the same time. Obviously I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So it's like,
right.
That's that.
B, tell me about who you are, some of your history, how you got involved. I know you went to the Citadel. That's very impressive.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I grew up in Poland, in like pretty poor neighborhoods in Poland. And eventually I finished computer science and started working in finance, London, New York, Chicago, building trading systems. And after like a while, I decided to switch to crypto side of things because I felt from the engineering perspective, it makes the finance more accessible. Like you don't need to have the like backroom deals with people to access APIs, access data. Like it's all out there. And like even from the perspective of like tracking money and like where does it go, like blockchain makes it much more transparent. Like good luck figuring out, layering in the traditional banking system.
Right. And I guess this is one of the questions that I've got. Looking at cryptocurrency as a whole, there were many years there, and there are still many people out there who believe that cryptocurrency will absolutely change the world. We've got a lot of people, though, that look at cryptocurrency just as a set of tokens that they can invest in or gamble on and hopefully make a lot of US dollars from that. Where do you stand on that?
I think you need both, right? Like I'm an engineer at heart. Mm-hmm. And I'm here for the technology,
right?
But I don't think that the technology is not why a lot of people show up, and I understand that. But it's just like traditional finance. Like, do you think people look at some of the like companies that they are just buying on Robinhood? No, it's just like crypto made it much more faster. It's moving now at the speed of internet. And I think that's what's scaring people.
No, I think I would agree with you on that. So you were in finance, you switched over to crypto. Looking at traditional finance, can you tell me the pros and cons of traditional finance versus cryptocurrency and vice versa, the pros and cons of crypto versus traditional finance?
So I focus on trading. Right? So I don't want to talk necessarily about like Swift and payments and all of that, just not an expert. So one obvious benefit of traditional finance is, at least on the equity side and most of the other asset classes, the trading is standardized. It's like it has been standardized in the electronic for quite a while. When you want to trade equities on any of the global exchanges, it's very similar API. And you can do that. The downside is without a lot of money and connections, you will not be able to connect to all of those exchanges. You will need to use broker networks, and those broker networks will have the deals with people that access exchanges. And you know what happened with the green app and
right. You probably don't follow me, but I have stayed away from the crypto vertical and throwing any money in crypto for several years. The only real way that I've delved into that up until recently was darknet markets. I work with law enforcement a lot. I work in the cybersecurity industry. So if I'm dealing with law enforcement, I work with crypto. If I'm dealing with a company that's looking for any type of information that criminals may be selling, at that point, I'm dealing with crypto and stuff like that. I've stayed away from it personally until recently. And when I say recently, I mean, I just started back in March 2nd. So
Okay.
March 2nd, I put $4,500 in. I'm sitting at a profit right now. I mean, we're not even at the end of March. I'm sitting at profit, crypto profit of about 235. So
Okay.
I'm very happy with what's going on there. And I've got to be honest with you, the massive bulk of the profits are on the Solana blockchain. Massive amount. I mean, it's to me, there are two major blockchains that are going on right now. That's Base, but I think Solana is the number one. What interested me about bringing you on the show is not only talking about Cube.Exchange, but talking about the Solana blockchain and why. And you're the proponent. You obviously know much more about this than I do. But why is Solana such a firestorm right now? I mean, it is absolutely aping everything else that's going on.
Yep. I would describe it as people now believe it's anti-fragile. So it went through the cycle of, started low. I joined in like 2020. It was like below $1. It had this massive run up. And like at that point, people were like, okay, great. But that's like, it happens in crypto. And then it went down to like $8, like in December of 2022 after, the events with Sam.
Right.
And at that point, everyone basically said it's dead. And I think what everyone in this world loves is the comeback story.
Right.
Of like it survived when everyone thought it's dead. The community, the developers stayed on. The bond came out, a bunch of other meme coins, the whole meme economy, and the community, despite the price action, was still there. And people started, I think, noticing that. It's like, oh, this is not just one trick that happened. The people are there regardless. And everyone loves comeback.
Everyone loves a comeback. They do. And looking at that, so I know they've got Base now, but Ethereum, the gas fees are extremely high. If you're looking to swap coins, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, a lot of the time, the Ethereum fees will eat you alive. And it looks like as if Solana, not so much. It's very cheap to do things on the Solana chain.
Yep.
Do you think that Solana is absolutely going to outperform and maybe even replace Ethereum ultimately, or not?
Like, actually, personally believe like you will see Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana out there.
Right.
And like people like freeze.
That's true. I was you mentioned when Solana debuted, it was under $1, and I remember that. Today, before I got online and started recording, it looked like I think it's at 180, 188, 180, 186. And most estimates right now are placing the all-time high of Solana being somewhere around 690-ish. So we're looking at some massive growth with that chain itself.
I gave up predicting prices.
I got you.
These days, people are getting excited about like meme coins that have nothing attached to them. So
right.
What I keep trying to remind myself is overthinking things and staying in the middle is what kills you in crypto.
Oh, absolutely. Let me ask you this. On the Solana blockchain, there's a lot of profit to be made, but it appears to me, just from that outsider looking in, it appears to me because Solana is so cheap to do things on and it's so effective, very efficient as well, it appears that, I don't know how to say it other than say it. It appears about 95% of all the projects there are rug pulls.
I don't know about the percentage, but I would say whenever, and you know this better than I do, whenever there's money, especially fast money, the criminals will show up and like people that try to scam you.
Right.
So I wouldn't necessarily associate it with Solana. It's just like money attracts bad people.
That makes sense. So, Solana's a big player right now. So, of course, they're going to flock there because that's where the most money is.
Yeah, especially if it's fast, right? It's easy to convince people to part with money that they made in a couple of days.
I mean, you're right. I mean, you look at some of the, you mentioned meme coins. You look at some of the meme coins. I mean, Bonk went up 20,000% in just a short amount of time. Book of Meme did the exact same thing. Alex Costa's token, he went from a 60K market cap up to a 50 million plus in 4 days. So, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's fast money. And when you've got a narrative like that, you've got people that are probably not even doing proper research that are coming in just throwing money at any new meme coin that comes up thinking that it's going to explode.
Yeah, the social engineering, one of the first book that I read on the social engineering was from Kevin, The Art of Deception.
Right.
That's like, most people probably don't remember that at all.
Yeah, Kevin Mitnick, good guy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what's in that book like applies to situations like that. Like it's very easy to create a narrative like, hey, like this thing called like X, Y, and Z, like it will repeat and you just need to put the money and you will be there. And like people want to believe that because everyone wants to make money.
You're the CEO of Cube.Exchange. Tell me about Cube.
So we started Cube right after FTX happened. Like I was literally with Larry, my co-founder, in Portugal when we discovered that we cannot access our money from FTX. I had decent amount of money there,
right?
And I was infuriated, primarily because one of the principles that blockchain and crypto in general stands for, from my perspective, is trustlessness of the system. Like you don't need to trust the big guy.
Right.
Like I don't need to trust the big bank or whatever. And somehow I found myself in this situation that I trusted this guy. And, I talked with him a couple of times in person and I was just very surprised that that happened. Like I never could have predicted it. I would say I was mostly angry at myself. Like, why did I trust him? Even like knowing him in person, like a bit, just like talking with him a couple of times.
But I mean, and you're right. I mean, the social engineering is absolutely paramount when we're looking at defrauding people, whether it be companies or individuals in cryptocurrency. The blockchain itself, you're right. I don't need to trust you as long as we have the blockchain and those transactions that are going on. I don't need to do that. But as you just pointed out, it becomes much more difficult because criminals understand, hey, I'm not going to get you like that, but if I can manipulate you psychologically to trust me more than that, that becomes a huge issue all of a sudden. And I think that's a lot of the scams. Well, not a lot. That is the scams that are going around. It's all psychological social engineering scams, whether it be taking over someone's Twitter account, the narrative overall of crypto of you're going to get rich by just throwing money at whatever. The narrative makes it very easy for a host of different criminals to come in and victimize people.
Yep.
What makes Cube.Exchange different in that, security-wise?
Yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to make sure, and again, this is somewhat from the book, from Kevin again. Mm-hmm. I'm always worried about the guy on the inside.
Right.
Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be me. I'm actually most worried about someone that I call like an IT guy. Maybe he's like lower paid IT guy that has access to the servers or something. And like nobody thinks about him.
Right.
And either he's a bad guy or he gets socially engineered. So we started building with that in mind. How do we protect from the IT guy?
So what did you find out?
So we tried to build this decentralized network of the guardians that manage the multi-party computation infrastructure. So I will go a bit more technical, but what that means is your private key, or you can compare it to like your credit card number.
Sure.
Doesn't exist in any point in time or place in our system.
You guys do not have access at all
Correct.
To the private keys. That's nice.
And it's not even like two people. There's like a set of guardians that basically have it split across them. And it's not even splitting like plain text. So like, let's imagine like credit card, maybe you split each 4-digit numbers into, but it's a set of like, some people call it like zero knowledge proof, but like basically math operations from cryptography that allow them to have the secret without knowing what's the part of that secret. So like the whole network would need to be compromised.
Okay, so it's, the key itself is split up across different
we call them
holders.
guardians, but they are basically external parties that we don't have access to. They basically vote on the transactions that you sign on the exchange itself.
Okay, and there's no way that a single person could get all the parts of that, put it together, and then use that.
Like they would need to socially engineer the whole network, which is much harder because there's independent companies with their independent processes.
And just let me just for the listeners out there, B is absolutely right. If you're looking to social engineer, typically you want that to be a one-on-one conversation. You don't want to be in a situation where you're trying to socially engineer multiple people, because those multiple people have different triggers. So if I'm looking to manipulate someone, I'm looking at you specifically. I'm trying to read how I need to respond and what I need to do to manipulate you into performing the action that I want you to perform. If I have to do that to two or more people, it becomes much more complicated because each person psychologically is different. While I may be handling or manipulating someone coming off as an aggressive person, that same aggressive nature may not be what triggers the second person in the conversation. So it becomes much more difficult. He's absolutely right. You don't want to, as an attacker, I want that to be a one-on-one. If it's more than one person that I'm trying to manipulate, it's extremely, you can do it. You can, but it takes a lot of outside stimuli to pull something like that off. So B, please continue.
Yeah, so that was like really I don't like to say, hey, like I'm protecting from myself. It was really just like people on the inside. And I think this is the highest risk that we normally have in the company, because companies often create this like walled fence inside, and they trust everyone inside and they don't trust people on the outside.
Right.
And I think if you remove that assumption from the system and try to make the system more secure from the inside, you automatically secure it from the outside as well.
I like that. I really do. That takes care of because if you're looking at online attackers, and I categorize online attackers as 7 different categories. You've got criminals, you've got nation states, terrorists, hacktivists, you've got insiders, hackers for hire, then script kiddies. And the insider problem right now throughout the entire cybersecurity industry is, it's exploding. It used to be, as an attacker, that I would have to go out and groom an insider at a company. I would have to contact them, fill them out, start to groom them, things like that. And these days, it doesn't work like that. These days, you've got insiders that are actually contacting criminal organizations and, hey, how can I make money while I work at this specific organization? So for you to be doing that with Cube.Exchange, that really impresses me. It really is a nice thing to do.
I appreciate that.
Let me ask you, as far as you know, there is crypto is absolutely becoming more legitimate. I would say it's already legitimized, but we still have a large criminal segment that tries to use cryptocurrency to launder money, to buy criminal goods and services, things like that. And being a centralized exchange, of course, I'm aware that we have a lot of people coming into those trying to cash out those stolen tokens, things like that. So as far as KYC, know your customer, at Cube.Exchange, how are you guys handling stolen identities, account takeovers, synthetic fraud, things like that?
Yeah, so we have a compliance team that's fairly robust. They are experienced. We use also external vendors for monitoring the transactions. But one thing that I think is like actually more important than any of those things, because any exchange will say they are doing that.
Right.
From the beginning, we designed the exchange to not be a mixer, if that makes sense.
Right.
So what happens with a lot of centralized exchanges, by design, they aggregate the pools of money. So when you look from the outside, like the blockchain perspective, you actually don't know what's happening on the inside. If I send $100 to any of the centralized exchanges, they will put it with millions of other dollars, and then I can withdraw 50 and withdraw 50, and most of the time, without contacting the exchange itself with a warrant, you will not be able to figure out that 100 was this 250 withdrew. Especially if there's like a temporal aspect between that, like maybe a year or two.
Right.
With Cube, the money that you deposit and the money you withdraw is actually visible on the blockchain. So
Nice.
If you're a criminal that's trying to do, like layering and stuff like that, it's actually much harder because those transactions will show on the blockchain.
So doing it like that, it seems to me, and there's a lot of exchanges that absolutely do not do it like that. It seems to me that where you guys are doing it like that, and you can actually track those transactions on the blockchain, that in itself is a deterrent for criminals coming into your environment.
Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, that's really nice. Cube.Exchange went live when?
Like about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that.
So where would you rank, as far as amount of business that you guys get? Where are you as in regards to, Binance and KuCoin and all that?
So right now we are only spot.
Okay.
So what that means for people that don't know necessarily trading is you can only buy the actual token and hold it. You cannot speculate with leverage on that token, and you cannot speculate on the token that maybe you don't have.
Right.
You actually hold that token, and that's what you have.
Now, are you guys going to be offering leverage trades or not?
Yes, at some point in the future. I think it's like, there's a couple of reasons why people do crypto. Leverage is one of them because, again, the promise of easy money.
Right. So when we're talking about leverage, I go into an exchange, sign on, say I've got $10,000. I put the $10,000 in, and if I'm able to trade on leverage, maybe, depending on the company, that $10,000 would allow me to trade up to maybe $50,000 or $100,000. That's the leverage, trading money that I don't have. Now, the issue with that is that, as long as the price is going up, you're good to go. But crypto, let's be honest, a lot of those tokens, it's a roller coaster ride. So, if it's going up, you're good. If, however, it drops, say 10%, then all of a sudden you have a call. And that call means that, hey, we want the money, not only the $10,000 that you've got in, but you ended up losing X amount of dollars over that because you were trading on leverage. And, in the stock market, when you're doing that, excuse my language, but you can lose your ass doing that. You lose 401ks, everything else. So it becomes very important to not go into something. Spot trading is outstanding because you're only going to lose what you've got in there, but you're not able to make as much potential profit, but you're not able to lose as much either. If you're trading on leverage, anyone who's out there thinking about that, it's extremely important that you are informed on what's going on. Do not just willy-nilly think that you're going to make money and be okay, because you will absolutely go bankrupt on that. I'm sorry I had to break in, but I just wanted the listeners to know what was going on there.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we don't offer those products right now, so like I 100% agree with you. I personally never do it,
Right.
primarily because I don't have attention span to actually monitor it. That
I don't either.
I'm a very basic person. I try to do things and forget.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I mean, the way that roller coaster ride of crypto goes, if you are informed, if you're diligent, if you are really persistent and you're not letting emotions override things like that, you don't really need to trade on leverage in order to profit in this game. You really don't.
I think it's volatile enough on its own.
It truly is. I mean, last week we were wondering if Bitcoin was going to go down to 55 or hit 71. No one really knew. Yep. So it's very a roller coaster ride. B, I really like what you've talked about with Cube.Exchange. Someone wanted to try out your platform. Where do they find that?
So it's Cube.Exchange. It's pretty straightforward. Right now, it's not offered in US, so this is primarily for people from outside of US.
Are you going to be offering it in the United States?
We are working with like lawyers how to do it properly. Me being in Chicago, we obviously want to make sure that
absolutely
we follow all the laws and do it properly.
Do you anticipate that it will be offered in the United States coming up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want my family and everyone that I know use the thing that I'm working on every day.
What you've talked about with security on Cube, the way you've built it and everything like that, I really do believe that Cube is something that we need here in the United States. I truly do. I mean, I'm signed on to several different CEXs and DEXs and use them all. But, it becomes very difficult. As you know, some of these exchanges, they tend to have some technical difficulties when people are trying to cash out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have no comments.
I know. We'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. So going forward, what do you, what kind of advice do you have towards someone that has never delved into crypto before? We're in the bull run, as you know, right now, and we're going to have a lot of new entries coming in. What advice would you give those people?
Sure. So maybe it's a bit of a boring advice, but only play with the money that you are willing to lose. I think that's like very important. Like almost like when you put it in, like assume it's gone.
I mean, I agree with that. I recorded a show 2 days ago, and I said that exact same thing. Don't put any more money in than you are willing to lose completely, and that you won't feel bad about.
For new people, I would say don't use leverage on the platforms, but also don't use like leverage in more traditional sense. So don't use money from credit cards or like loans or anything. Like it's like dollars that you have that you would spend on a restaurant.
Right.
Like rather than getting a steak, maybe play with it and learn something and treat it as a learning opportunity. Being a new person, there's no easy money.
I agree. Let me ask you this. Do you think that and I'm not asking for financial advice at all, but just your opinion, do you think that for new people coming in, that they're better off investing in the blue chip tokens or more going toward the meme economy, the small cap stuff that's coming out, stuff like that?
I think it really depends on the person. If you're willing to spend the time and go deep, like there are opportunities out there, but it's not easy. Like it will take time and you might lose some money, but you will learn things. So like approach it with the just learning mindset. I just want to discover as much as possible and have fun. And the money will come after that.
That is solid advice. I asked you at the top of the show, and you said just to call you B, but I have to know, is it Bartosz?
It's Bartosz with like SH.
Bartosz. Okay, Bartosz. Because I wanted to close out the show, and I didn't want to say B. Lipinski. So, Bartosz, I cannot thank you enough. I think you're extraordinary. I truly do. I think that what you're doing with Cube.Exchange is outstanding. The information that you've given, the advice that you've given as well is solid advice. I thank you truly for coming on the Criminal Thoughts podcast.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to close things out. My name is Brett Johnson. This is the Criminal Thoughts Podcast. Bartosz Lipinski, the CEO of Cube.Exchange. Hopefully we'll see it in the United States soon because, let's be honest, we need some solid, well-thought-out exchanges as Bartosz has walked through how they developed and came out with Cube.Exchange. So keep your eyes open for this. I know I absolutely am. He gave some solid advice. Do not throw any more money at this than you are willing to lose completely. Do not do that. Do not trade on, if you're a new person, don't trade on leverage starting out. Learn the environment. It depends on who you are as to what you're investing in, all right, or gambling with, depending on the amount of knowledge that you have before you start throwing money at it. My name is Brett Johnson. This is the Criminal Thoughts Podcast. We're going to close things out. How do we do that? Same way every single time. Stay safe out there. Stay secure, stay vigilant. Nowhere is that more important than in the cryptocurrency industry. Stay safe, stay secure, stay vigilant. Understand that, hey, it's not the blockchain that's going to get you. It's those social engineers that are out there that are going to get you. At the end of the day, just do the right damn thing. My name is Brett Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.